Previously on Disco Elysium.
In the great city, at the end of the world, there's a dead body behind the hostile cafeteria, and a strike that's about to become a war. Precinct 57 sent their finest. Precinct 41 sent you.
And more. I made the mistake of confiding in her. I told her I was on the run. She started protecting me. It became an unhealthy relationship.
Women like women too, officer. Try not to fix it on this. Let's move on.
Well, I'll be damned. That's one more thing we know about the world. Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
Really now? Check this out.
You're overwhelmed with a new surge of violent static. It feels like a blood vessel exploded in your brain.
I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale. Literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else.
Keep calm. Breathe in. After the pain recedes, it's a little clearer. Did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell. But she looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it.
She's truly desperate. She thinks she has no other options. You need to give her options.
Day of miracles. I'll take it.
She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness of the tunnel.
This is a misunderstanding. Nothing irreversible has happened yet. You can just return to your unit and forget all about this.
The Kipt is merciful, willing to spare us if we just forget about our murdered and humiliated commander. I think we should just kill everyone, Corty.
You are all drunk. Come to your senses. You won't gun down 7 people in the middle of the street. This isn't a frontier town or a jungle outpost.
Easy, Lizzie. Let me handle it. I know guys like this. I'm sure we can come to a peaceful agreement. Ain't that right, fellas?
He is facing overwhelmingly superior firepower, and he knows it.
Klaasje, the woman upstairs, where is she?
She left! She left! Her room's cleaned out! Right before these assholes showed up!
We should have arrested her.
You can feel how upset he is with himself, just for a second. Then the fear takes over and he's back in the moment. She's gone. Forget about it now. Concentrate on this.
God, please.
He's aiming for the eye slot in Rude's helmet. An extremely difficult shot. 2 shots ring at once. One from the lieutenant's pistol, and the other from DePaul's. A slender white shadow towering. Someone stands there, raising her pistol at him. The lieutenant does not see it. He's pushing down on your wound with both hands. No, you say, and hand out your firearm to him. Your hand trembles and your eyes are full of fear. That's all it takes. There is no room for hesitation. The lieutenant moves like a spring unloaded. He grabs the gun from your bloody hand and fires behind him. There was a radio in the distance, a radio of the world, playing sounds. Good morning, Elysium. Soon you will return to the world.
No, it was him. He is the infernal engine. Can't you see? He never stops. He only gets worse.
You see the lieutenant's familiar shape in the orange jacket. It turns double, then triple from the pain.
Sunrise, Parabellum.
She watches over the waters, silently. The few scattered waves that form crash against the shore. It will probably be the last time that she is ever down here, or at least she hopes that it is. She has all her important things back, the ones that weren't confiscated by the RCM while she was gone anyways. There is some sense of sadness within her over leaving her little camp, mostly born out of it being necessary to hide away down here anyways. She didn't plan for it to end up like this. None of it was ever planned from the start. Just choices being made in the moment. Choices that only made things worse and worse. Time to go, she says aloud to herself, turning to leave. She'd like to fill the air from time to time. Suddenly, everything starts to hurt. It pulses and drills, leaving her unable to move as she lurches over. White noise fills her head, with the sound of a voice in the distance. Her voice. Like snippets of a radio station playing as they're skipped over. Reminders. Reminders of a night she'll never be allowed to forget. Reminders of bad choices and worse decisions. Reminders of how damaging true love could be. She collapses to the ground in a heap, panting and heaving for the air as the static slowly subsides. Sweat soaks her forehead as she gasps, as her gasps for air echo around her. We need to get out of Martinez. Klaasje sits on the side of her bed in silence, listening to the humming of her lamp. It has been some time since she was last in this room. She shouldn't be in this room. And yet, she is. She doesn't like how empty the room is now. No traces of anything left. All of it cleared up and swept away to make room for whoever would be the next guest to rent this place. Any signs of the phantom that used to reside here are gone. No longer any ghosts to hang around and haunt her. That wasn't what she wanted. She wanted to feel him again, to touch him, to hold him, to comfort him. She wanted to tell him it would all be fine. But now he was gone. Long gone and forgotten. A man fully erased from this room. Likely soon enough, this town. There was nothing she could do to keep even a little piece of him here. to allow him to remain. She got to her feet, wiping her face. There were no tears on her face. This town had already wrung all of them out of her a few weeks beforehand. It was time for her to leave. The man that used to be here no longer existed, but she did. Time to go. A meeting like this is putting you at risk, she says, tone slightly stern, concerned. I'm allowed to see how you're doing, aren't I? I still care about your safety. If that was true, you wouldn't be returning to the scene of the crime. She pauses, sighing. I'm fine. Still a bit shaken up, but fine. I was able to find cover before the shootout got truly bad. That's good. That's good. She's trying to find small talk as they wait, but it's hard to do when the scent of death still lingers in the air. Should have come to pay my respects sooner. I must ask, why are you choosing this path? After everything that she has put you through, the concern is stronger. She doesn't answer at first, only looking at her reflection in the window next to her. God, she looks like she's aged 10 whole years, even though it's only been a few weeks. I guess it's just... feels like there's no other way for this to go, honestly. We're in too deep together. Better to go with someone you bonded with than alone, right? And besides, she says, a coy smile crossing her face, you know what it's like when you find a girl who's just unlike anyone you've ever met before. She looks aside, blushing softly. You have no idea, she mutters to herself. They both silently watch the rain fall, the glow of the building illuminating them. Hope I haven't kept you waiting too long, Klaasje says, approaching the two. Despite it raining quite a bit, she is still smoking. I shall take my leave. Your lorry is still where you last left it, Ruby. I've made sure it remained untouched, she says, turning and walking away. Farewell, you two. I hope you were able to get somewhere far, far away from here. Yeah, farewell, Ruby says before looking back to Klaasje. You got everything you need? I do. Not much left now, but enough to make it wherever we're headed. She pauses. But there's something we need to do before we go. And that is... She turns, walking towards the gate, entering into the building's backyard. We're paying our respects. It'll be good for us. Ruby watches her lead the way. She's being serious about this. Of course she is. Damn it. Silently, in the rain, the two stand under a tree as rain continues to batter down on the street. Ruby is trying everything she can to keep from saying the wrong thing. She watches her while tapping her foot. We can go whenever you're ready. They had to shoot him down. What? When the officers finally came to take his body down, they shot it down. I heard the gunshot and him finally touching the ground again. There is no emotion in her voice as she states this. Ruby doesn't respond, only scoffing and shaking her head. She softly bites her tongue. She quickly turns around and starts walking away. At least it's over now, right? He's probably in a metal box, returning to the rot he was born from. She means this both as a joke and genuinely. She watches her get a few paces away before looking up at the now barren tree. She spits, it getting lost in all the rain. Good riddance, she mutters under her breath, before turning to rejoin Klaasje. Ruby felt a sense of relief wash over her as she saw that her lorry was still there, and in good shape. She had given too much of her own personal self to the machine for her to try and simply get another. Klaasje had been in the thing a few times. She would humor Ruby and let her show off how she had customized the thing's inside, like she was a kid who had put together a playset all by herself. You remind me of him, you know. Remind you of who? There was no answer here that she was going to like. The detective. You remind me of him. I am nothing like that human can opener of a man. I, for one, actually know what I'm doing. You're both strange specimen to watch in action, she responds. I felt the same talking to him as when you first started talking with me. Are you complimenting me or trying to get some sort of rise out of me? Take it however you want, I guess. Whatever works better for you. She pauses before letting out a small chuckle. You both share a love of giving up and singing karaoke too. It's like the mic just calls you to it. Now I know you're just trying to get a rise. God, every time you went to sing when I was around, you always went with that same song again and again. What was it called? Louise, was it? She does not respond, only rubbing the back of her neck. She is blushing. I didn't hate it. You couldn't sing the foreign lyrics at all. You'd lose key at least once per go. And it was anything but subtle about how you felt. I didn't mind watching you sing it again and again. It was just because you looked like the singer. Thanks, I think. When I think about what I've missed, without you I'd cease to exist. If you leave, Lord, I would cry. 1 week best, I'd curl up and die, she says, recalling the parts Ruby would get most passionate about singing. Be true to me, Ruby finishes before the two have another chuckle. It's not really funny, but they really needed this. Ruby takes a few more steps towards her lorry before stopping, looking back at Klaasje. The rain continues to come down. There's no going back, you know. It's a final warning to both Klaasje and herself. Klaasje simply nods, taking another puff from her cigarette. I know that. But how about you? Do you really want to take the plunge? Still hoping you can make me feel something a phantom never could? Ruby is silent, before nodding. Yeah, I know. She says this with confidence. Klaasje approaches, before wrapping her arm around Ruby's shoulder. I'm looking forward to it, she says as they both share one last look at the city of Martinez, the rain pouring down from the dark night sky. It is quiet, and they are together. I think I'm going to take a long nap in the passenger seat. I hope we'll be somewhere interesting when I wake up, she says, softly pulling away and walking to the other side of the vehicle. Ruby watches her walk to the door and get in, before chuckling again and doing the same. Her feelings for the woman remain the same, possibly even stronger now. As the lorry engine started up and started to drive off, the city of Martinez became a bit more empty. Soon enough, all the phantoms that remained from weeks back would all be gone, slowly forgotten even by its long-term residents. Perhaps it was for the best. There was still a sense of pain, fear, and uncertainty for the two. Where they would end up, what would come next, what would follow them from this town. But right now, none of it mattered. They were moving on, and it was time for whatever came next. As they drove out and away from town, Ruby fiddled with the knobs on her radio, settling on a song she had played for Klaasje many, many times before.
When I think about what I've missed, without you I cease to exist. If you leave me, Lord, I will cry. 1 week back, I curl up and I be to me. De ma chérie, oh Louise, allez, allez, Louise, allez, allez, Louise, allez, allez, de toi. True. I'm in love. If the sun rises, this is the truth. Does it come from your heart? Yes, it does. Deep inside, I'm a Santa Claus. Thank you, friends. And you will be glad you tout doucement, et mon arrêt. Tu fais des noms, pas toi, mais pareil. Tu fais bonnet, mon saucisson. C'est où la honte, j'en fais la raison de lui. To me.